Hello and welcome to this week's Swarf Show. The lockdown continues, so are we, and by the looks of it, so are you. As you may have seen, we have been doing MTD Daily interviews to keep up to speed with what's going on, and oh my gosh, the industry is just evolving and adapting so well. Today, you will see so many of these changes from OEMs and subcontract engineers. Here's just a few that we have caught up with, and the list goes on and on. But you're about to hear some interesting and honest stories proving just how remarkable the support is for UK manufacturing. Joining me today are Paul and Colin. How are you guys this week?
It is all good. I'll tell you what, being stuck at home alone, it's probably not a bad thing for everybody else out there, but busy as usual from our, doing loads of stuff, and like the rest of the industry, as you'll see in this show, we're adapting.
Definitely. And Paul, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I've moved this week. I brought my laptop upstairs. You'll be pleased to know I finished that book that I started reading and I showed you last week. It was a bit wordy, but I got through it in the end. But yeah, all good here.
It was a thesaurus.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Oh, right. I thought it
what
was.
What does that mean?
Yeah, well, you know. But yeah, I'm well, and looking forward to getting back on the road. Actually, I don't think it's going to be too far away now. Obviously, there's been some developments this week. Boris is back, and it looks like we are out of the first stage. So, we've got a lot of demand. A lot of engineers have asked us to come and visit them, and we're about to start embarking on doing that, but operating obviously within government guidelines and keeping the 2-meter distancing rules in place. So, yeah, all good.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully we're coming out from all of this. Right, let's start on a positive note then with Hydrafeed UK.
We've had 2 or 3 quick orders for bar feeds and a couple of the Rotoracts. So we're doing all we can. We're running here on a skeletal staff. The subcontract side of the business is doing exactly the same. We're trying to be fair to staff. Most of the staff have been furloughed, but we do propose to try and 3-week off and 3-week back on. The build manager is still here building bar feeds. It's all hands to the pumps. He's delivering the bar feeds for us.
Colin, Isn't it interesting to see some of the hurdles that people are taking now and something that we would have taken for granted before?
Martin was, he hit the nail on the head. He was really candid. Things have quietened down, as you'd expect, but they're still doing their deliveries. But, you've got logistical issues, if I can say that properly. You've got someone installing a machine or servicing a machine or whatever it might be. If they've got to go to Newcastle, for example, are they going to get a hotel? How are they going to eat and things like that? Just everyday things we're not used to, but they adapt. And a big statement he made is the people now who are brave enough, it is time to invest because it's giving you opportunity to look at your machine shop, how you're working, and be more efficient. So big step, big decision, but invest now, I think, is what came out from that interview, amongst a number of other things.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. Next with CG Tech, and they're offering a little help to their existing customers.
And the final question for you, Tim, is force optimisation offered to people making critical parts for the ventilators. I know this is something that you're talking about at the moment as well.
Yeah, but we want to do our bit, Paul, because we've seen that there's a lot of customers out there that are rolling the sleeves up. They're getting involved with the ventilator challenge, and we want to do our bit. So any of our existing customers out there that want to make the parts quicker, because obviously the volumes that we're talking are significant, and the more than what a lot of customers cope with day to day, if you like. So if we can help shave 15, 20, up to 50% savings out of that machining time from that NC code by optimizing it using force, then just pick the phone up, guys, because that's what we're here to offer you, if you like. Good. In these testing times.
So in essence, they could be making a lot more parts a lot quicker, which can help create the ventilators a lot faster, which could in turn save lives, potentially.
Exactly that, Paul. Exactly that.
So what's this offering of force?
So they're obviously supporting their customers by offering them the software if they're operating within or making parts for ventilators, which is great. I mean, I suppose what I'd probably like to touch on is what and really it's about optimization. What does optimization mean? And I think that when you're doing production, you're looking to reduce cycle times, and software like this enables you to do that. And this is what I've learned a lot about recently, actually, by doing technical corners with CAD CAM suppliers. But if you imagine a machine and you're moving from point to point, you basically want to be able to get to those positions as quick as possible. And rather than moving in an X direction and then a Z direction, what software like this does is it basically moves you across the tangent. So it will move in both directions at the same time, and it makes that decision for you. So these are things, and these are the ways that machines can make parts quicker. And sometimes what people would argue is that you can have an inferior machine operating a good quality software platform and actually get as much, if not more, out of it than a faster machine. So it's kind of using the software, and we'll touch on this later in the show as well when we talk about some of the products that Mazak have been offering. But I suppose in some ways, an analogy to describe optimization the best would be like, if you listen to Colin, he'll obviously sometimes tell you a few sentences, but I could have said it in 2 words. It's getting from that elongated pitch down to something that's a bit more succinct.
2 words for you.
No, Colin. No. Right. Anyway, I for one miss walking around the customer's shop floors and smelling the smell of oils and metals being cut. Well, here is Stuart Wade from Empire Manufacturing giving us a walk around his workshop.
We're predominantly sliding head. We do all sorts of things on there, and I think as anyone knows, sliding head machines are not just small turn parts anymore. They've got a host of different machines and different tooling attachments, and you can do some really, really complex stuff on there.
And have you experienced that? Because it is a big point we talked to Star about how flexible and adaptable those machines are now. Have they taken?
Yeah, that's right.
Have they enabled you to recreate and rethink the way you make some of your parts?
Yeah, some of the parts that we've made, initially you'd look at it and you think, oh, that's a mill job. You wouldn't think that it'd come off of a lathe of any sort. But in actual fact, they can sometimes be a lot more efficient running on this type of machine because it's fully automated. If we was running the parts on the mill, you'd have to load maybe 8 or 10 at a time if you set it up like that. And again, it's still the time, and as soon as the day is finished and the workers go home, that machine's off and you're not making any money. So with the Stars, they're a lot more efficient in that you can keep them running, and quite often they're faster cycle times as well. So, they're a really versatile machine.
Now, Colin, over to you, because this one seems to be business as usual here. Yeah.
Stuart, Empire Manufacturing, what a great machine shop. It's a great story because he actually started just as a financial crisis struck in 2007. And he said it was an absolute nightmare. Had to raid his kids' piggy bank and all sorts to keep going. And now look where he is. I think he's got the CMZ we saw, about 10 Star machines. And it is all about automation. And like that CMZ, for example, your bar feed at one end, the gantry over the top at the other end. And he's making some cracking parts. And he said the Stars are holding 3 micron tolerances, no problem at all day, every day. So it's a great success story. Great indication of what you could do with your automation, which I think is what is going to come out of this whole current situation.
It's, you say, the multi-pallet and the multi-tool function has allowed many of our customers to run these parts, obviously unmanned, and they have been producing thousands of components, and a lot of customers that wouldn't normally be making these components have been making these components and coming on to us for assistance and help, support, and if required, obviously engineers to visit to fix machines when they break down.
Paul, earlier on in the chat, because I did watch the whole of this one when it was live, they said they've found that the industry is still busy, but they're running as normal with support.
Yes, like most machine suppliers, in fact, all of the machine tool providers that we work with are still operating, albeit in a limited sort of framework. I think the biggest point about this video, and again has become really evident in recent weeks, is how unmanned production, this is a great illustration of how unmanned production is really the future of manufacturing, but how it can help you in crises like these. And I think I didn't really want to talk about unmanned in a sense. I'd rather talk about the flexibility, because I think that's what Matsuura's machines are about, and multi-pallet machines are about. It's about the ability to be able to adapt quickly. And I think that what we're seeing at the moment, certainly on social media, is that most of these engineering companies that are involved in making parts for the medical sector are doing it on very productive machines. And in a lot of instances, they're Matsuura's. And it's not just because they're fast and quick, it's because you can go from one job to another job very, very quickly. And what that means, really, if I break it down, is that if you were tendering for a job from a company that was making a new product, whether the volumes were 2 offs, 3 offs, 1,000 off, 10,000 off, you would be able to quote it using a multi-pallet machine. You could leave the machine running unmanned for 2 weeks to make 1,000, but you could also run a 2 off during the night unmanned as well for the same kind of costs. And that's the big promotion about their products. It's, they're quick, yes, they're fast and they're accurate, but they're adaptable, and they allow your business or enable your business to adapt. And I think that's the biggest thing about people that invest in Matsuura and automation.
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a bit of a trend, because you are seeing a lot of these companies having automation and they're still up and running. It's quite interesting. Right, next, let's see what's available in the market and talk travelling columns at Mazak.
Let's move on to the VTC 800. Now this, I have to say, this is a real head turner, this machine, and in fact this range. Talk to us about these travelling column machines, Mark.
Well, the VTC is something that we've manufactured a while in Worcester, and the VTC 800 series is one of our flagship models. It's been designed and manufactured here within the European Manufacturing Centre, and offers really some real unique features for the customer. So take our VTC 800 with a 3 metre length in x-axis. It has a 3.5 metre length table. But interestingly, the actual overall dimension of the machine is just 4.25 metres. So you get an incredibly large working space within a small footprint of the machine. The reason for that, Paul, is because it's a travelling column, the table is fixed, and therefore we don't have the necessary extra space on the left and the right for a moving table.
So Paul, is this machine in stock?
Yeah, they do have VTC machines in stock. And I think if you watch the whole piece, we also talk with Alan Mucklow as well about business, being open for business in the current climate. And we spoke about the VTCs with Mark there, but we also spoke to Mark about the QT machine, which is the quick turn range, which is also made in Worcester. And what was interesting is we went on in that conversation to talk about the software, and Mark was really really key. He really wanted to get to this point about the software and how much of a difference the software makes these days on a machine. Now, there are many machines, as we spoke about the CG Tech products earlier, that are faster than other machines. But if the software is not capable of keeping up, or if there are no improvements in the software, those machines may suffer. And I think with the smooth control that Mazak have, that's a big area that they push. So, for example, the quick turn range is a sub-spindle machine, or does have a sub-spindle within the range. But they really promote the fact they've got this smooth control, which has ease of programming, and also you can reduce cycle times because of the processing speed of the machine, how it guides you to make different components, and also things like artificial intelligence, which Mazak are heavily involved in at the moment with their machines. So really what Mark's saying is that, it's important to talk about the hardware, but hey, let's look at what our control can do, and let's look at what an influence that is when someone's purchasing a machine, and it really does work for Mazak.
Yeah. I agree. Paul, you're a QT machine, but Colin, you're not a QT machine.
I was going to say that, actually.
You know this video link? I can actually see and hear what you're saying, don't you? Just how can I quickly interject though, if I can use that word?
I'm not going to let you talk. Next, we chatted to Hoffman about how they are adapting to the current situation with virtual consulting.
One point I wanted to pick up on here, Tim, was something called virtual consulting. Now, this is very apt, really, with what's happening currently in the manufacturing environment. Can you explain how advantageous this can be to people and what the product is?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, our whole value proposition is around that consulting and finding solutions for our customers and clients. with the demands that and the restrictions that we find ourselves in currently, and we all need to work to the guidance that the government are providing us, we've tried to find ways of how we can effectively still deliver that service, because there are many parts of the industry that are working exceptionally hard in supporting the fight against COVID, whether that be in maintaining food supplies, whether it be in shifting production to ventilators, etc. How do we provide that service? So, we're using, technology such as this to provide what we're calling virtual consultation. So using Teams, Skype, FaceTime, WhatsApp to get up and close to jobs. Our team of specialists can still be available. It's a free service to help our customers and potential customers find solutions to problems they still have in, service, manufacturing, making products, shifting production. We're available for that through this.
I mean, Colin, you can now see how much a company is adapting, can't you?
You certainly can. But Lindsay, I just want to go, not off script, but take a quick step back. Matsuura, sort of name dropping here. Microlock have been utilising their Matsuura multi-pallet machine, and it's been so beneficial for them because they've been able to run 24/7 lights out for ventilator parts. And also LMS, they've got a great Matsuura. And like Paul said, it's not just about big batch runs, it's 2 offs, 10 offs, 100s off and things like that. So absolutely perfect. And moving on very swiftly, the Mazak VTC, I know we did a video for Ferocity down in Cheltenham, and the operator there, he said, we've got loads of machines, but this thing is so solid, it's unbelievable, absolutely fantastic, it really is. Anyway, we digest or digress or whatever the word is. Hoffman, they've adjusted for the UK market specifically, but they've got some great sort of applications guys, technical guys who are able to help with solutions, especially at this time as well. And I think we're going to get a theme out of what's going on here at the moment in terms of it's about virtual consulting. So they're getting the guys on Skype, Zoom, whatever it might be, and they're actually able to give a solution in terms of what tooling requirements you have.
Over now to Citizen, and they are extremely busy.
Well, we offer to help the end users to repurpose their machines, and we've done a lot of CADing out of components which needed to be made differently. So like plastic injection molded parts that needed to be made from solid materials, particularly things like connector parts for tubing. Right. We've also supplied our labour in the form of our application engineers out on site at end users to help rewriting programs and setting up new jobs. Our sales team helped identify which parts we could make on our machines. In fact, pretty much everybody mucked in to help out. Okay. And we've loaned out so many tools and tool holders and collets, more than I care to mention. Everyone's helped out where they could, including all of our excellent suppliers.
Okay, well, I hope you keep a good inventory of that, because we want to make sure you're getting back in the end.
Yeah, so Collins, Citizen are helping people out, but they them too have had some success over the past few weeks.
They really have, and I have been told to keep this as short as possible. So what I'm going to say, a couple of quick points, load of new machines coming out, 17 machines delivered recently, and one of the great features was the fact that government had got in contact with them and said, look, what should we do with this current crisis? Should we set up a new machine shop? And Edward and the team were like, no, just utilise the great engineers we've got out there already, and they can gear up, they can adapt and change. So it's a great success story of how they've been able to help these people out.
Yeah, definitely. And I know they've got some launches of new machines coming up as well. Right, next up, a bit of Colchester.
Yeah, so Mac for Colchester was going to be a very big and very exciting event for us. So we were looking at launching what we called our 5 innovations. So they were the next generation of Alpha manual CNC hybrid machine, which is generation 6 now. We were going to be launching the new era in manual turning, which is our Manual Machine Plus machine range. We were going to be showcasing for the first time our full range of permanent laser marking solutions. And as well as that, we were demonstrating automation and then also our design and engineering capabilities as well. So those are the 5 innovations that we were looking to launch at MAC this year.
Paul, they're going ahead with the launches, but how are they doing this?
Well, I mean, as they said in that video, if you watch the full video, they moved into their new place in Elland, and it is a tremendous facility, lots of space, lots of kit. they're available to see on demonstration. So I don't think they'll have a problem with getting people there and trying to get their messages to market in the short term before MAC 2021. They were going to be at MAC 2020. We all know Colchester for things like their lathes and their new VMC, certainly the ones they launched last year. But I think the biggest point about the video is the laser marking that they're trying to push. Companies working in the aerospace industry, the automotive sector, where they need traceability, how are they currently marking their parts? Are they subcontracting them out? Or are they buying equipment to do it? And Colchester Machine Tool Solutions now offer laser marking. And at MAC, they were going to show that working in conjunction with a turning centre and a robot.
Right, okay, thank you. So next up, we speak to Goering.
What's the split, Chris, with standard to bespoke product at Goering in the UK?
Historically, it's always been a more standard business than special business, but it's been getting closer and closer year on year. So this year we were probably looking at about 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, having looked around your facility, it really is a remarkable place that you have there. You've got some fantastic technology making product, haven't you?
Yes.
A very clean shop as well, isn't it?
Yes, obviously with the coronavirus, we've gone even deeper cleaning, and we're trying to do all the proper self-distancing and doing everything correctly. It's a lovely facility. It was 2 years ago, Easter, we moved in, and it's just been a real godsend for us to work in such a nice environment.
No, it is fantastic. I can recommend anybody to go to the facility at Goering.
Colin, I mean, the product mix has changed here a bit, hasn't it?
Again, it comes down to adapting, changing. So they're now doing a lot more bespoke work. I think he says in the long video, well, the full length video, sorry, it was about 80-20. Now it's about 50-50. So they're gearing up to doing those bespoke solutions for customers. So obviously just get in contact if you need a solution in terms of machining. If you need that tooling, again, another solution provider, they can get that delivered next day or have it ready for you same day because they've got the stock available if required.
Right, thank you, Colin. Next up, we have had a chat with Steve Finn from DMG Mori, and it's a good one, this one, because you learn about the company as a whole.
And what about on the sale of your machine, Steve? We do a lot with DMG Mori and we talk about your financing options. This is a very attractive route, isn't it, for your customers? Has that helped in recent capital goods sales for you?
Enormously. Last two orders this month have been through DMG Mori Finance. It gives customers the opportunity to tailor a package to exactly what they need. So, for example, one particular customer has ordered, he's not so interested in a 6 months deferred, but a ramp up between now and the next 18 months. And it gradually feeds up as his production is invoiced. So that suits his needs as well. Directly financing machine tools are nothing else. We are experts at it. We put a high residual value on the product, so therefore it gives a much, much lower monthly rental cost. And we can be so flexible.
And I think in today's market, that's going to be very important for end users. Talk to DMG Mori about their finance options. They are very, very impressive.
Paul, I mean, I love Steve's honesty here. He's very honest and open about the whole business and gives you a real understanding and probably an appreciation for the whole logistics of the machines and the spares too.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he hadn't told his wife yet that he was going to be working more from home. If you watch the video to the end, he does go on to tell us that, much to her disappointment, I believe. He talks about finance, very, very important. I think as we come out of this crisis, engineers are going to be looking at investing and reducing risk, and there is that opportunity there with DMG. But I think what we didn't see there is and was possibly what was in the video earlier on was the technology that they offer and how they are. Well, it's interesting because we're talking now about automation and how things are going to change in the digital world. Well, you go to DMG Mori's factories and these guys have been preaching this for years anyway. They're already on it, like a lot of machine tool suppliers. I was only over in Fronton, and I know we keep mentioning it, not so long ago, looking at automated vehicles moving parts from machines to machines into metrology stations. They are already practicing the things that so many people say are going to change. They're already there, and I think it's important to get that message across.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much, Colin and Paul, for all of your insights. Anything else you just wanted to add before the end of the show?
Well, I was just going to say I wanted to apologise to Colin for saying to him earlier that he rambles on a bit. Someone did once call him a boring man, but actually, I've got a joke. What do you call something that's just been eaten by a boring man?
My lunch.
Indulgent. Indulgent.
You know what I like about Paul's jokes is they're not funny, but he laughs, and he's the only one that laughs, and that's what makes me laugh. Oh, goodness. Right, anyway, thank you, Colin. Anything you want to add? Did you get the joke?
I'll tell you what I like about Paul's jokes. Absolutely nothing. They're dreadful, honestly.
They are.
But can I just say a few key points we've got out of this show, just a couple of quick ones. It's all about automation, adapting, streamlining your processes, investing now if you're brave enough, and I think now is the right time to invest, like DMG Murray doing the finance. They're still selling machines, all these companies, and I think there's going to be big changes like working virtually. So, Lindsay, you don't have to go near me anymore. That's a massive positive, I think.
Thank goodness for that. Right, anyway, please like, comment and subscribe. And as we always say, keep those spindles turning.